kind of takes guts to say, here's a brand I just did. What are your thoughts? Am I willing to welcome negative comments in the feed? Oh, you could have done this better. You could have done that better. It's scary.
Do the negative comments get to you?
It was a train wreck if you look back. You know, if that's the better way to say it. I couldn't focus. I couldn't learn. And if you look at the minute of those successful people within our industry,
They were probably failures in
they
school.
were the failures in school. I'm sorry to say. Now, I'm not patting myself on the back that I'm the most successful out
There
there.
are much bigger failures.
None of your business, Oshi. None of your business, Michael.
It's the None of Your Business podcast, hosted by Michael and Oshi.
Our next good-looking guest.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Wow, that was the first time you used that introduction.
So, you know, the way you should have seen the way he was looking at me. Is none other than Eli Basch. Ellie, I have to just first start off by thanking you for this beautiful design of the None of Your Business podcast. I don't know if the world knows this, but, you know, coming up with the idea of a podcast is one thing, and coming up with the concept of a name is another, but putting the graphics together and the design, I feel like I'm a pretty creative guy. And when you meet someone that's like the next level creative, it was exciting for me, to be honest with you.
I think it was a huge collaboration, and I would say that I'm always excited to team up with other creative minds. That gets my juices flowing. And I would say that, you know, having yours and Stefan's creative direction in the process definitely added a lot.
I appreciate it.
And knowing that I had the opportunity 2 years into this business to work with somebody who's been a marketing genius for 20 years was very exciting.
Oof.
So
Compliments will get you.
talking about Michael,
Oh, 20 years? Marketing genius?
I mean, Prime Source has been going on for 20
Thank
years.
you. Thank you.
He's the chief marketing officer. I mean,
yes,
so
yes.
chief entertainment officer.
I do second that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Another compliment from both sides.
You know, if you want to go a night out in the city, if you want to go on a vacation and you're looking for things to do, Michael's always been...
Someone called me yesterday on a conference call. Ari Landau called me yesterday. And, you know, I was available. I picked up. He was on conference with somebody. Michael, Sweet 16, give us ideas what to do.
Go.
I just went attack mode.
And you have
I'm like,
3 different options.
I'm like, oh, you want karaoke? What is she like? You know, the first question I asked is, and you know, we've done this before, is, well, tell me what's on your mind. Like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about the birthday girl, and let's take it from there. But Ellie, you're doing a lot of creative things. I've been watching you, and you're very active on LinkedIn, and I've been watching you there. When did you start on LinkedIn?
So I started January 15th, 2023.
How do you know that?
Because I know that. Because I remember.
Are you a dates person? You remember dates?
No, I'm actually terrible at that, but LinkedIn I'll never forget.
Because the anniversary
And it
date
was the
keeps popping up.
stupidest post in the world.
What was it?
Oh my God. And I was like waiting. I'm like, I just started a business like 15 days ago, January 1st. And I'm like, how am I going to get my name out there? And I'm like, I guess I'm just going to start on posting on LinkedIn. I've been watching people post for 6 years. Well, what am I going to post about? And anyways, I find this like, it was freezing. It was like 0 degrees outside. And I find this like old flannel Ralph Lauren shirt in my closet. And the collar's just all messed up, right? And I'm like, how am I going to wear this? Like, do I take out an iron? And then I start just like pressing it with my hand to kind of even it out so I could wear it because it was a cold day. And then I get onto LinkedIn and I'm like, you know, you can have a really bad habit. You can have something this shirt's been stuffed in the closet for 3 years. But if you get in there and you start pushing yourself and you really have the willpower to change yourself, then you can make a shirt flat. And in life, when you have a bad habit, if you put your mind to it, then you could change it. And I've been enjoying watching your status, just watching your life journey and just the positivity and how you meet people and how you bring out the best of them. So I have to say thank you to you because your podcast has been a real inspiration.
Thank you.
Going into business, you're all excited. Fluffy-eyed.
Oshi podcast is you too, by the way.
And is it fluffy-eyed? Is that you're the English professional?
I kind of feel a little bit left out of this kind of things.
Puppy eyes, right?
I feel like
Please compliment him on something.
No, it's okay. I feel like the two of you are having like this little love thing.
Yes, we're having a creative love affair.
I do love Michael. I do love.
I don't consider myself to be a creative mind, so I don't quite understand, you know, what you guys are talking about. I can respect it, but I like it.
I'm just curious on this LinkedIn thing. You put a video or it was just
No, I just put a picture of my shirt.
Really?
and not even of myself. I was too scared.
How did that post do?
It actually did like 40 likes, and I'm like, hey, LinkedIn works. So I started posting like every other day and slowly built my business through there, and eventually built a website. Eventually, at first, it was hard getting clients. I started giving away projects for a lot less money than it would be worth. But then I was able to share the projects, and when people saw the projects, they're like, I want to work with this guy. So, started out charging $1,000 for a logo, then $3,000. Then when people see the $3,000 logo, I'm like, yeah, how much do you charge? $5,000. When people see the $5,000 logo, I say it's $7,000, and then slowly you build from there. So I've built the business off LinkedIn, and I would say that in the beginning of my business journey, everything like looked like it was going to be easy. But then you like kind of hit like this dark moment where you're like, how am I going to do this? Like it was fun doing it once or twice, but now I have to build a team, and now I'm not exactly involved in marketing all day. I'm running a business. And just like I was saying before you interrupted me, Oshi,
Sorry.
I got a lot of inspiration from Michael, and we've became friends through business, which is another awesome thing about LinkedIn. You can make real friends.
Oh, is that where you met on LinkedIn?
We met,
Massively.
you posted on LinkedIn, I'm looking for the best creative minds out there. And
That's
I called
right.
you up, we met in your office, and we worked together. So yeah,
I introduced 3 people. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I think that's something worthwhile telling a story about. You built your business on LinkedIn.
yeah, it's really cool.
That's amazing. I mean, people need to know this. It's something that's you should be proud of. And it's something that I think people need to recognize, that when you're starting a business, you don't have to think that you're going to start your entire business on LinkedIn, but definitely a portion of it.
Yeah, 100%. So, for me, I have a certain like now I'm going to compliment you, Oshi. You have like a way with words,
My
right?
turn?
You have a way with words. The English professor, right?
Yes, he's been paying attention.
I have a way with words also, and I have a talent to write. Rapping in the shower at a young age, right? So I'm good with words.
Is that a true story?
Yeah,
You can
I
rap?
freestyle.
Get out of here. Come on.
I'm not great. None of your biz. I'm not good. I'm not good on the spot.
You started off good.
That's it. That is
started
as well. Yeah.
I could spit a little, but it has to be in the moment. When I'm in the shower, that's my zone.
All right. We'll join you there then, I guess.
We'll be lurking somewhere in this time. Yeah.
No, I like it. You were complimenting Oshi. Go back to that. We like
No, he was saying about words.
Yeah.
And he started, but what does that mean you started your business on LinkedIn? What does that even mean?
I think I just started posting my thoughts about what branding is, what the power of branding is, what the power of a website is. You see, I came in from doing sales for 6 years across the hall at Next Millennium. So my
Is that where you
experience,
worked at Next Millennium?
yeah, I co-founded Next Millennium. Yeah. So
Really?
yeah. And then I went on my own.
While Prime Source was there in the office or before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was during COVID. You guys were like non-existent. Everybody was working from home right.
You
When we moved in, it was basically around COVID time. And there were maybe like 2 people from Prime Source that showed up to like Mincha and we didn't see any of you. I never saw any of you.
Yeah. We let everyone work from home. That was good.
Yeah. So I didn't get to meet a lot of you guys, but yeah, some of the guys I knew from Mincha or hopping over across the hall. Ezzy Weiss actually worked there. We used to,
Yes.
so he used to come in.
so you already had experience in this design business from before. This wasn't a brand new business.
I had a lot of exposure to, digital advertising and we were brokering ad space. So we weren't actually creating the ads, but we were brokering the space between the brands and the websites that had the ad space online. So I was very familiar with it and, what it meant to create an ad
We're involved in a
campaign.
different side of that business.
Different side of it. Right. So I was doing consulting for a year after I left there. And then I realized there's a big gap between strategy and implementation. And that's when I decided to open my own business and, deliver the actual end product, the
Did
finished
you
product.
have any money to start this business?
So honestly, in the beginning, it was very light overhead, working from home. And if I got a job, I would like sub it out and find a freelancer. And then eventually with time, I got enough clients where I was able to bring things in-house. So very, very light overhead. And I had saved up money from my other job. So did not need
entirely on your own.
Yeah. I mean,
No partners, you didn't bring any investors in.
nothing, no marketing budget, nothing. So it was just
Wow.
living on savings and trying to build up a
That's the right
business.
way.
Yeah.
That's the right way.
I'm very proud of you, by the way. I have to say, I mean, because I speak to people all the time who are afraid to post. They're afraid to go on camera and they're afraid to, put out a message. And like watching you is just amazing.
So it's kind of funny. It was kind of freeing going away from a company that was, getting looked at from private equity, and we had eyes on us. And, if I would say something slightly political, I would, get a message from the head of HR, and I kind of like felt a little trapped. And like the second I left and I exited, it was like, okay. Now it's just like that. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Keep typing. Here's what I really think.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious about one of your posts that didn't do well. And it didn't do well. And you're like wondering, why didn't it do well?
When I'm lazy to come up with a good hook, it's probably going to bust. When you don't attach media to it, it doesn't do as well.
So you're saying part of the key of a good post is a hook and media. And I've learned this from you.
Media is huge. A good hook is huge.
Give me an idea of a hook. I want to talk about this actual, experience here. We're sitting at the sat at a podcast today with Elie and Ushi. Had a great time. We spoke about LinkedIn. It was amazing. Where would I put a hook? How would I orchestrate that, paragraph? And
I would say, I don't know. For example, last week, we implemented a new process for our websites in our company. And one of the ideas that I had, a designer didn't like, and I was like insistent on doing it. So instead of being insistent and putting my foot down, I said, what don't you like about this part of the process that I implemented? And she gave me a whole story that, why it's not good. And I heard her. And the hook on the post was, I got shut down. Right? I got shut down, and everybody clicked and read, and they thought that I lost the sale. They wanted to see what happened. Like, what do you mean you got shut down? Right? So, everybody was saying good hook. Like, basically you want to like create, you're good at this. You want to create like get people intrigued, like what the story is.
Right. That's awesome. You do a really good job at it. Besides,
I would say also the posts that really stink are the ones that are all about yourself. Nobody gives a damn about you. You have to, there has to be some education. People call it value. It has to be about the users, engaging them, like asking them for their feedback. It kind of takes guts to say, here's a brand I just did. What are your thoughts? Am I willing to welcome negative comments in the feed? Oh, you could have done this better. You could have done that better. It's scary.
Do the negative comments get to you?
They don't get to me. It just only inspires me to be better. Any criticism is just a learning experience and a learning moment, just a way to improve. So I don't really take it as criticism. I take it as advice.
Ushi and I had this discussion a few months ago when I was saying, I think you should post, quantity and quality, which is a very difficult thing in LinkedIn, right? So like post every day. We're discussing about posting every day versus posting once a week.
Right.
What's your advice on people when it comes to posting?
I was very into posting every day to the point where like I would start getting tight in my chest if it was 3 p.m. and I hadn't posted, and I had so much of that pressure. But some people say it's better to post every 3 days and let your post pick up steam through those days. Everybody has their own way. For me right now, it's just a matter of timing. It's a matter of have something creative that comes to my mind. So I don't get so crazy, but I think in the beginning you do have to be out there. And one of the most underrated things is commenting, right? Because you have your own little audience, right? But if you could tap into 25 other people's audiences every single day by commenting on their posts, so all their audiences is seeing your comment. So that really amplifies and helps you grow a lot faster. So putting in that time to commenting is huge. It's underrated.
I like that advice, by the way. Did you put a post up yet today?
I did. In the morning, right when I woke up, I put up a branding project.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Still in bed?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like something I wanted to get rid of and just get on with my day.
So I'm curious, anything happened throughout the day today that you're like, oh, I want to post about this?
When I was on the way to the show,
Yeah.
I took a video in the car. I didn't know posting it. I don't know.
Tell me what it was. Post it
It was
here.
just like day in the life. Like, hey guys, I'm on the way to this architect show, done an architect show. I'm going to be on the None of Your Business podcast. The reason why I'm going is because so-and-so, I'll post it so everybody sees it. But the reason I'm going is because I feel like designers would appreciate, our design. So that's why I want to go meet them and make connections. That was the idea of the post. Kind of random. There's a lot of people that have content structures. Like Tuesday, I post about this. And
As if
Wednesday-
everybody's waiting for their post on Tuesday. Like,
Exactly. I just post whatever comes to my mind. Yesterday, I wrote a funny post. I'm finally able to spell entrepreneur without spell check. Does that make me an official entrepreneur? That was the post, and that's it.
that's good.
And whatever comes to my mind, I don't know. I feel like people want to
Just
just
spell entrepreneur.
Absolutely not.
okay. It's ENTRE entre PRENEUR. And you can yeah. Entrepreneur.
I can spell Mississippi, by the way.
Now, and my next thing is connoisseur.
Oh boy.
Connoisseur. If you could get connoisseur, then you're a connoisseur.
And 2 S's.
Right. And it's EIEUR or something like that.
Yeah.
You should know that.
Yeah. The English language is complex. It's
Yeah,
funny too.
You know what? Look, we had a great day today. I appreciate you coming. The idea of
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And by the way, just shout out because in the next few months, we're going to be dropping senior care events, another day 3 project, which I'm really excited. The healthcare industry is waiting for it.
yes,
We're all waiting for it.
We're all-
we're very
So
excited. about
we're
it.
excited about that.
It's all
Let's
about
do it.
that red dot. The reason why I love that is because when Ushi was proposed to you, this red dot, I'll never forget. He looked at you and he's like, "A red dot? That's what we paid you for? To come up with a red dot?" That red dot is going to change the industry.
And then Stefan was, he's the marketing brain. He's like, guys, this is, that guide in the mall. Like, you are here. Where
Yes.
are you going? And he came up with that concept, and then everybody bought into that.
I love
so
that.
Stefan saved that, actually.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Stefan.
Before you go, Ellie, I just want to ask you, who are people that you follow, that you look at, and you're like, oh, I like this guy?
Other than Michael Greenfield.
Michael, number one. Who do I follow? First of all, Kyle Kaufman has been very instrumental in my growth. So early on, whenever I needed advice, I went to her. She ended up becoming my client, but I always can turn to her. She's like a 20-year industry veteran. So she's been very instrumental. I love following her. Charna Ambers, Label Schwartz. Haven't been scrolling the feed as much lately, so my mind is not fresh.
Those are good.
But those are, really good. Who else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ushi, why don't you post on LinkedIn?
So I post more seldomly. I believe in quality over quantity, but I'm not posting enough even for what I'm doing. I should be posting more. But I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn overall, as much as a lot of other people are, especially as much as you guys are. And I'm not knocking LinkedIn. I'm not saying that I don't think it works. I don't think it's as great. For me, at least, I don't get the major use out of it that other people are saying they're getting.
I feel you're a very people's person. You're like very good in person. You need that like
The connection.
face to face.
Yeah.
Right? We're more marketers. We want to get ourselves out there.
Yeah.
I see that with you.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm starting to see it on other platforms. Like, I think there's a lot of merit to YouTube. I think that a lot of people, everybody is on YouTube. Not everybody's on LinkedIn, but everybody's on YouTube. Everybody's checking out YouTube. Everybody's checking out their shorts. Everybody's checking out clips. I mean,
so LinkedIn just added shorts. So if you start
yeah,
getting
their
on
shorts
video,
are very lame. I've seen their shorts. Their
Well, we
shorts
gotta
are
change that.
the content,
very,
the
very
content's
lame.
going to improve.
Yeah,
People are going to
bring it-
realize that they need to invest in.
But they're never
link-
gonna compete with YouTube Shorts because the content on YouTube has been for hundreds of years. I mean, they're way more advanced. So I don't know. I don't see the merit of
Honestly, most
as much.
YouTube shorts are like TikToks reposted to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
That's what.
And some. That and some.
Just want to ask you, people who are starting off, they're creative, they want to get into a business. From a creative standpoint, I mean, you're here today, we're talking to designers, people that are naturally creative. We had a couple of creative people on the podcast that say, oh yeah, it's a God-given gift and you have to know how to, channel that. So what would be your advice to the young people that are starting off? They're creative people, what to do, how to channel that creativity?
So I would say, first off, surround yourself with people more talented than you are,
Good one.
because you don't want your company to grow as much as big as you are or as good as you are. You want your company to grow more than that. So start by taking on lower cost projects and really deliver, like over deliver. Because if you take a logo for $1,000 and you over deliver and you make it look like a $5,000 brand, when you show that to people, you'll be able to start charging $5,000.
Beautiful.
So that's the first thing, over deliver.
yeah.
And then surround yourself with people that are more talented than you. Now, those are the two things that I would
Nice.
tell them. And also get into nature. Whenever you're feeling like you're stagnant, I came up with the name Day 3 on the top of a mountain. And day 3 represents the third day of creation, where all the growth and transformation happened. All the trees, all the grass, everything started growing. And I was on top of a mountain, and I was thinking, like, when was this created? Oh, on day 3. So I named my company Day 3. So get out into nature. If you're creative, get out into nature whenever you're feeling stagnant. Surround yourself with good people. Learn from others, right? Like I was saying, I look up to people like Trona Embers, Kyla Kaufman, the big designers in the industry. And yeah, they've paved the path, and I'm just trying to do it a little different.
Those are stellar pieces of advice, by the way.
Yes.
Really.
Dropping some nuggets over here.
Yeah. All right.
Hot poppers.
Yes.
All
Hey,
right.
thank you guys.
Oshi, your story matters. Let's talk is the slogan for our newest sponsor, the Serenity Center, which is a clinic for therapy and many other types of services that people need for mental health challenges. And I have to tell you that I did not want them to be a sponsor of ours until I tested them myself. And I sat down as a session paid by my insurance with the leader, Mordechai Weinberger, this person who has a radio show. He has live Zoom conferences with hundreds of thousands of people tuning in every single week. The reason why they do is because he is amazing. I sat with him for over an hour and I got the most out of it. And let me tell you, I did a lot of talking. He did a lot of listening. And I learned that the Serenity Center is a clinic that provides a service for therapy that's led and supervised by Mordechai Weinberger. And I see why they're so successful. And it's just something that, you know, we need to mention more of. And I want the community of Rockland County and even beyond to know that if you need therapy, don't wait and push it off because it might be too expensive or you may not be aware of the perfect therapist. Go to Serenity Center, try them out. Insurance will most likely cover most, if not all, the charges, and you will get top level service.
Sounds like a no-brainer to me.
I've recruited one of my really good creative friends, Ellie, here to join me. And we are sitting here with none other than Elie Goldring.
Ellie with an I at the end.
You're the Ellie with the I. He's the Ellie with the E.
I'm with the E.
Sorry, with the I.
E.
Sorry, with the E at the end.
Oh, Ellie with the E, right. Yeah.
What's with the E at the
What
end?
is with the E? Was it Eliezer?
So what is it? So yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So Eliezer is my full name. Eliezer Zussia for all those listening. Yeah, nog de Heilige Kleine Rebbe. And when I went into the secular world, I was called Ellie, meaning that the spelling is Ellie, but the pronunciation is Eli. And I just ran with it for about 18 years. Then I got a little older, as you can tell, and I got a little sick of that.
You didn't like the Eli?
I didn't like the Eli, no, because I wasn't Eli Manning, and I don't have his arm or his pockets. I'm like, I just don't like that name anymore. So I decided, one second, I think I'm a genius here. With my dyslexia, I never understood the long E, the short E, the vowels, the whole thing. But someone told me just add the E in. It's there. It's part of Eliezer. So it's Eli.
But then it almost looks like Ellie, which is a girl's name. Ellie. If you add one more L, it's like a girl's
Usually
name.
the girl's
When I go to
name is-
Starbucks and I order a drink, they'll write Ellie.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be spelled that way, or with the Y at the end. That would make it the female name. But so far, nobody thought that I...
Why do you care to be called Eli?
Gender issue. I just don't like it.
You don't like it's not you. You want to feel like it's you.
That's it.
That's
I want-
And have people continue to make a mistake calling you Eli with an E at the end?
So actually, what happens is now people actually ask me, so how do you pronounce it? Because it's definitely not Eli.
Right.
So how do I pronounce it? And people are very respectful about it. They actually want to name you or call you by the name
Yeah.
that you're
Well, how do you-
named.
It's funny. How do you spell lie? Lie. Taking over for Ushi with the grammar, right? So it could still be Eli, but I guess they get the message. Okay, good.
I'm just curious. I know you read a lot of books, or you, I guess, listen to a lot of books. You said you're
Correct.
dyslexic.
So let's talk about that. For 36 years of my life, I haven't read or listened to a book. And I labeled myself as being dyslexic from the sense that I am street smart. So I learned everything the hard way or absorbing it from someone else, just listening and understanding it and tweaking it in my own creative way, as I call myself a visionary. Today, it's called driven. Those that have ADHD, ADD, and all the other initials after them, those that were thrown out of class in childhood, you're the unique people of the world. You're the driven people of the world, which from Dr. Douglas Brackman, it's 8% of the world are those driven people. And we're not going to name all the big ones, but think about Jeff Bezos and others,
Elon Musk.
And Apple and all those other great iconic people that the world's been gravitating from.
Wow.
That's who we are.
So how many books do you go through now? Like a year?
So right now we're on a book a week.
A book a week?
A book a week. We're at 1.75 on the speed. So I'm a speed reader, it's called. It's not about understanding every single word and every concept. It's about just being broad-minded and open-minded from the sense of knowledge, just mass knowledge. So I'll give you an example. Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. He's got about 20 books out there, collaborative with other people. I've gone through the entire series. Jim Collins, Pat Lencioni, Gino Wickman, and many others, just from going through a series of different pieces from psychology to people about delegation, leadership. Start with Why, Simon Sinek. I've watched probably 100 podcasts of him. So between books and podcasts, I've been a little drunk over the last 3 years, but it's feeding my brain the perfect dose that I was looking for. Because actually in one of the podcasts, I learned that the brains that have zero alcohol in them are very, very sharp. So I reflect back and I never ever drink. I don't drink Kiddush wine, nothing, no wine. No.
What do you do at a Kiddush?
I just have a good piece of herring.
Wow.
So that's it. My brain is still fresh and young.
You're not overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed with all these books. Like, it's just like, there's a concept of like you go to sleep, you put something in, you listen to it, and it comes into your subconscious. I feel like you're making up your new DNA, so to speak, of who you are based on all this information.
Very good. So I'm actually tapping into all the uncovered wisdom, I call it, and all of the things that were baked in, or they call it stacked in the closet. I'm actually getting the chance to be able to take all of that and uncover it. Those that say, peeling away from the onion, so to speak. There's a lot of hidden talent, believe it or not, with a lot of people out there.
Within us.
Yeah. And I say it all the time. It's about having the right people sitting in the wrong seat in your organization. Okay, that comes from a Jim Collins.
Expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, so he talks about having the right people on the bus sitting in the right seat. So I'll give you a little analogy on that. I flew once to Troy, Ohio, little town, and we were 8 people on a 42-seater plane. And some of us were in the front, some of us in the back. And before takeoff, the pilot says, "Gentlemen, I need you all to go in the back." And we're thinking, oh my God. He couldn't take off. He had too much weight in the front from the heavier people, okay, sitting in the front. And as soon as we put all that weight to the back, he was able to lift up. For landing, it was okay, no matter what.
I always thought that was a myth, by the way. Do they actually, they can't take off without?
They were not going to be able to take off. The balance of the weight was a major factor.
From 8 people?
Yeah.
So what'd you learn from that?
So what I learned from that is that there is this concept that's not just a theory. It actually really matters. What seat are you sitting in? And then you could think about it like you get on a plane, okay? So you have the aisle seat. What's your preference? Aisle, a window, the middle? Do you want to sit in the back? Do you want to sit in the front? Everyone has a preference for a certain reason. That's part of your DNA, I'm going to call it, in the sense of where you're most comfortable. Well, if I don't have a choice, I could sit in the back. But if I have a preference, I like sitting in the front, by the window, by the exit, whatever that preference seat is.
Can there be people that are just the jack of all trades in their company? Not necessarily one particular seat?
So I'm going to phrase that question a little bit differently. The question is, can you have multiple hats, and can you have the ability to sit in different roles? And the answer is yes, that all small business owners, entrepreneurs specifically, are those that have in their DNA the ability to multitask and sit in multiple seats at the same time. However, at some point, you want to see yourself not involved in certain pieces because you're better off being in a better seat. So for myself, most of the world knows me as being in the business development seat. Today, thank God, I sit much more in a visionary seat. That allows me to do things that I was not able to do while I was in the business development seat. Doesn't mean that I wasn't a rock star in the business development seat, which happens to be the visionary also does great in business development, but it's a different type of business development, different venues.
When you're implementing the EOS, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you find with business owners trying to implement it? What are the biggest problems that come up? And
Sorry, before you get into that, what's EOS?
Right. EOS. The EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. There's a book out there called Traction by Gino Wickman, and it's a simple, practical set of tools to be able to in order to be able to systemize your business. In 3 words, clarify your vision, have traction in your business, understand that you're working day in and day out on that vision, and there's accountability and discipline within the entire organization, and healthy from the sense that there's a cohesiveness, there's open and honest, it's a healthy environment, people are excited to come to work, they're productive, it's profitable, and it's a fun environment. So it's a holistic set of tools that go into the human aspect of people. It's not software, it's not a myth, it's a system. It's a set of tools, and it's really, really simple, and it works best for companies that are typically between 10 and 250 employees.
Like, what are the biggest problems when it comes to implementing? What are the biggest challenges that you face when you're implementing the system, and why doesn't it work sometimes?
So it doesn't work for people that are not open-minded and willing to change. There are a lot of people that are very happy with the status quo, okay? They built a business, they're in a comfortable spot. Nothing's really urging them to go somewhere else. Then EOS is not needed for someone like that. EOS is here to help those that are in pain in a certain sense, that are not growing, or they're growing too fast and they don't have a grip on what's going on within their business. And then it's all about being very open-minded. You got to be willing to change. You got to be able to take the risk. You got to be willing to let go. You got to be able to delegate. You have to understand how to set up the right structure. You have to be able to take time to reflect. If you ask me the number one reason why people are hesitant about it, I think it's the time, putting in the time. People today want everything instant. If I pay you for your fee for the day, I want the results at the end of the day. It doesn't work that way.
You got to do the quarterly meetings. You got to do the yearly meetings.
You got to implement
weekly L10s.
Weekly L10s, rocks, scorecards, accountability, people analyzer. You got to do it with the right system. You got to take every piece of it, understand which pieces of it you're missing from your business, double down, implement it.
And how did you get into this?
How did I get it?
You know, I was just thinking of the same thing. I'm listening to all these letters. I'm in KPIs, ROIs, ABCs, DEFs.
Yeah, how did I get into it? Yeah, how does a push it?
And my second question to that is, before you got into it, were there any other operating systems, we'll call it business operating systems, that you considered as another option to EOS? Or is EOS the only one out there?
No, EOS is not the only one out there. We're very unique. And we know exactly who our target market is, and we're very focused on our brand. That's number one. Number two, how did I find it? So going back to 2019, Zvi Schwartz, a great friend of mine, which I met in his office by meeting his boss at a trade show. So here we are at a trade show.
Love it.
Let's talk about the Hashgacha Pratis that works out. And everything comes with Siyata D'Shmaya, but that's without saying that, okay? That's first. Yeah, without that, if you're missing that, nothing's going to work.
It's a given.
Okay? It's a given. You got to wake up in the morning and stand. You need it. That's what you rely on. That's what that's the secret sauce. Anybody wants to know what the secret sauce is? It's a lot of Siyata D'Shmaya. But Zvi Schwartz was a great friend of mine and was a donor of my non-for-profit called Hope. I'm not going to get into that. And when he became an EOS implementer, after implementing it within a company that he worked, he came over to my non-for-profit and said, I want to help you grow out of this seat that you're stuck in. At that point, I was sitting in all 5 seats, as we call it. I was the director of sales, marketing, operations, finance, COO, everything. And he said, read this book and it's going to change your life. And he actually demonstrated the 90-minute meeting.
And you listened to the book?
I did not listen to the catch. So as a visionary, as someone who's driven, we also procrastinate. It's one of our strengths, I call it, because we have no weaknesses. All right, I'm illusional. No. So he did a presentation. I said, this is awesome. Sounds great. It's like the perfect fix to all of my problems. I took the book, put it on my windowsill, and I never looked at it again. Fast forward, I went to a trade show, back to the trade show, a summit, the J-Boss Summit, and there was a presentation there of an implementer, and a friend of mine, Yossi Jacobowitz, he was sitting through that presentation, and I went to that show. It was right after COVID, let's call it, at the end of 2020. And he comes into the car and he says, Ellie, you need to become an EOS implementer. That was his statement. I picked up the phone, coming out of Connecticut, and I called Zvi Schwartz. I said, Zvi, I want to become an EOS implementer. And he's like, you didn't read the book yet.
Back to the book.
Back to the book.
The basics.
That was the very first book that I listened to. I downloaded it right then and there. I got home. I started the book at 10 o'clock at night and I finished at 4:30 in the morning and I didn't stop. And every word that I heard from that book just made sense and more sense and more sense.
What was the whole dyslexic thing then?
So dyslexia is the fact that I couldn't read.
Yeah.
I never had an appetite or a willpower.
So you listened to it?
So I listened to it on Audible. And from there, today, I'm a little past 68 books. And right now, this year, for 2025, on track for 1 book a week.
I'll tell you, the last time I started something at 10 o'clock at night and it went on till 4 in the morning was the second season of the show called 24. I got this DVD and I just kept going and going and going. Where do you get this stamina from?
You know, I want to tell you, that's one of the hidden talents, I'm going to call it, of a visionary. They get laser focused when they're have interest in something.
Yeah.
Okay. When I'm excited about something, the world around me is dead and I can stay laser focused and then take that away from me and everything else hits me in the face in a second. Like I could see 20 things at one time and I can figure out what I want to get busy with.
Have you ever heard of the SCNUs?
No.
So there's a guy, Dr. Nachi Felt, he was featured in the Mishpacha recently. I don't know what it all stands for, but S stands for stimulating. People that are ADHD need something stimulating.
Yep.
C is competitive. They're competitive. They want to be at the top. N is new, novel. If something new, they'll be interested. So if something's not new, there's no competition, there's nothing stimulating, boom, shut down. What's the U, by the way? You know what the U is? It's SCNUs, I think.
It's all about you.
Let me tell you, real fast forward. From 4:30, I finished the book. I went to sleep for a couple hours. I woke up about 10:30, 11 o'clock, let's call it. I went to daven and I started the next book immediately, Rocket Fuel. And when I read Rocket Fuel, that talks all about the strengths and the weaknesses of the visionary and integrator and the duo and the importance of having a partner of that level on a high level. And man, was I drunk. In EOS, we call it, I drank the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Called back to Schwartz. He didn't believe it. At 2 o'clock, I said, I finished both books. Sign me up. And that's exactly what you just said. It's stimulating.
It was new?
It's competitive. It's new. So I go.
Why was it competitive?
Oh, because it's about always learning something new and taking on a challenge and providing real impact for people. That's what driven people are very, very excited
Elie, how
about.
were you as a kid? I'm curious. You were in school. What'd you do?
I graduated 4th grade in Beis David English, and then I was the copy boy. I mean, I was the copy boy before then too.
That's a position.
That was a position. Yeah. It's an official position for
to get out of class.
for the ADHD kids that the teachers don't want to put up with.
Yeah.
Let's keep it at that. I still have kids in school, so I got to be careful. Baruch Hashem, my kids are not ADHD or dyslexic. Baruch Hashem, I have good kids and good schools. But I was a train wreck. If you look back, you know, if that's the better way to say it, I had a very hard time. I couldn't focus. I couldn't learn. Let's simplify it, okay?
But you look at the kids that were successful in school and not successful in school, it has no correlation to their future success whatsoever. If my kid ever has a bad day in school, I tell my wife, I promise you it's not going to make a difference in his life. Trust me, just chill.
It won't. And if you look at the minute of those major successful people within our industry,
They were probably failures in
they
school.
were the failures in school. I'm sorry to say. Now, I'm not patting myself on the back that I'm the most successful out there. There are people that are much more successful.
They're much bigger failures.
But I'll tell you, in my family genes, actually, we don't take risk. So that's the part of the entrepreneurial visionary that was part of the package of Elie Goldring. That's why I did so well as sitting in a seat of business development, because I had that stability of finance and I was able to take the leap and become an EOS implementer and follow my dream. My dream is to fulfill my why. It's a Simon Sinek teaching of find your why, understand what your why is. And my why is to inspire people to tap into their uniqueness, to feel fulfilled, to be able to help others. So every single day and every action that I do fulfills a piece of my why through a cause. So EOS implementation is a cause. My Momentum peer-to-peer group is a cause. The Hope organization is a cause. Some other projects that I'm working with, they're all different causes, but at the end of the day, it's all about fulfilling that passion in regards to how many people did I help tap into their uniqueness? Did I help someone feel fulfilled? Were they able to help others? Were people inspired today? And for those that see me at a lot of trade shows, now you understand why I go to trade shows. I just get to meet a lot of people at one time under one roof.
Yeah.
But there was no risk involved in all that? Opening an organization, becoming an EOS implementer?
Good. So we take mitigated risk. Okay. So when we're very, very certain, did a lot of research.
You didn't seem to do a lot of research with the EOS thing.
Well,
Somebody told you at a conference you should become an EOS implementer, and you said, that's it.
I read the book and I was excited, and I was dyslexic, and it met a lot of my wish list items in regards to how do I really tap into my uniqueness.
Visionaries are usually more of the risk taker type. So you're a visionary that's not a risk taker?
Correct.
Is that unique in itself?
It is very unique, and that's why everyone.
I feel like I'm more of a visionary that's not a risk taker. I don't take a lot of risks either.
Okay.
Is there a way to maybe get yourself to take more risks? That's what I'm working on.
The more comfortable I get with what it is that I'm doing will allow me to be able to take bigger risks, because I reflect back and say, okay, that wasn't too bad. So I'm piling on, let's call it, from the action or the journey that I took a few months ago or whatever it was. It's really a pile.
You're educating yourself.
I'm educating myself. Yeah, I'm not taking a full-blown new risk, going into a new territory and, putting out $5 million.
You're also doing something that you're very passionate about, and something that you've been living, and it's amazing. I'm loving watching your journey. I'm excited to what it's going to turn into, and I want to be part of it in some capacity. And I think that we're already part of it by you being on the program. So I thank you for coming on the None of Your Business podcast. Do you have any questions for us?
So I don't have any questions other than, Michael, thank you for allowing me to come on. We've known each other now 18 years.
Yes,
believe it or not. We should celebrate just that on its own.
Yes.
And
Do you implement EOS in your house? Like how has EOS impacted your family?
That's a great question, Ellie.
excellent. So that happens to be, for those that do know a little bit of the terminology, there is a family VTO, which is a vision traction organizer, to be able to implement.
Like we want to have 2,000 kids by 2050?
Grandkids and, for the doitis. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, wow.
So I'll share a quick story. Hope my son will forgive me for this. I became an implementer. I come home. I'm excited. I'm like, you know what, Moshe? Let's create a vision traction organizer. So we sit down and say, okay, what do you want to accomplish year end? Like, give us some goals.
I'm sorry. How old was he? I have to ask.
He was 16 at that time.
Okay.
15, 16.
And it's like, Tati, again?
Yeah. So a new thing.
A new thing, right? Again, something else. Okay.
So thank God he is extremely driven, but he's not dyslexic, and he's got a lot of talent. So I sit him down in my office, and we put together, we pull out the VTO, and we go straight to the 1 year planning, and we say, okay, just think for a few minutes. Where do you want to see yourself year end? Write down 3 goals. I'm not going to get into the 3 goals. He wrote down 3 goals for the year. He put down 3 rocks for the quarter. He actually painted his picture.
By the way, Michael, rocks are things that must get done.
Must get
at all cost, at any cost, right?
To your best ability, at whatever. Yeah. Okay, good. So puts his 3 year picture together. We put a 10-year target where he wants to see himself buying a house, getting married, and so on and so on, coming from a 16-year-old. And we decided that Matzah Shabbos will be our L10 meetings. We're going to have a meeting one-on-one so I can help him make sure he stays accountable and that he moves along. And wherever he feels stuck, I could coach him and give him the pathway to fulfill what he wants to get done.
Wow, that's really cool.
Little did I realize that I messed up. I didn't show up Matzah Shabbos to the first L10 meeting.
Ooh.
So I wasn't that disciplined at that point. So you know what he tells me the next Matzah Shabbos? You failed. You missed one, you're out. And we say, when we teach the L10 meeting, the only time you miss it is vacation and death. Maybe you can go out of the boundaries a little bit. But the point is, I missed the first one. He gave up on the VTO. He's doing okay without it as well. But there is the concept of family, and it's a fun story that I tell my clients.
That's really cool.
All right, this needs to be explored more. I'm not sure if I subscribe to this whole world, but I'm definitely intrigued and interested. I just feel like too many systems is sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming.
Yes.
So you have to find what works for you and how to create that balance. With that being said, I'm happy that it works for you. And I'm happy that you're able to influence so many others around you to implement parts of the program, of life, and things that help you grow. And may we continue to grow in our journey, each individually, and affect one another.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you, Ellie.
Ellie. This is awesome.